Okay, good morning. So, this is the second day in Victoria. Just want to share with you the view from my hotel room. It's again a very beautiful day, and I just want to share with you the painting I did yesterday. So what happened is the sun setting real quickly, and I was wondering why. And after I just kind of forced to wrap it up, I realized that it's 10 p.m. already. So it's really deceiving how bright it still were. I was able to sort of just quickly wrap it up without much thinking in this one. I actually like this one. Not in terms of how finished it is, but just I was able to pretty much paint what I had in my mind. It's really rough, it's not really finished and refined, but the elements that I wanted to be in is there, the depths I want to have is there. So obviously the Legislative Assembly building is in the back, and this statue right here I wanted to separate from the background, which I certainly did. And of course the car and the figures, and it's all there. So it's really rough, so I won't call this a finished painting. It's more like a sketch, but I can definitely take this idea home and I'll do a much more refined piece at home, maybe with a bigger painting as well. So I still call it a success in terms of study and sketch. So today, with the day being so beautiful, I'll probably head out again, see what else I can paint, because the morning light is definitely different from what I had in the last evening. So let's go out and take a look around, see what else we can find to paint. So here I come across this very nice looking scenery. It's a really nice cathedral building, but I am not standing on the curbside because the moment I step on the curbside, the tree is blocking the view like this. So what I'm not able to do a plein air painting here, I will take a photo while stepping out when there's no car and take it home and do a painting of it. This is not a landmark for Victoria, but it is a very beautiful, nice scenery that sort of like a hidden gem for me. So very exciting for this one. Okay, and a little bit of side notes here. Look at those bright spots. Those are the caustic. So the sun is hitting the window on the buildings on the right. And those windows sort of just like reflect those light right back on this wall here. And they're so bright, it becomes sort of light source itself. So you have all those caustic that looks just absolutely amazing. So here I'm come across this wonderful scenery, and it wasn't as interesting yesterday when I was looking at it because the lighting is different. Now this morning, the morning light is definitely much more wonderful, and that car park there actually just creates a very nice elements to the scenery. So here I am start a new plein air painting. So this painting is more of a vertical orientation painting, just because of the buildings on the back. That church building is pretty tall, and if I don't use vertical orientation, I cannot really show the scale of that in comparison to the car. So drawing first, again with my mechanical pencil, just quickly block out the shape. I find myself draw a lot quicker when I'm doing plein air because I don't want to spend too much time drawing stuff. Plein air, it kind of feels like a test. It kind of feels like an exam. Like they put you under pressure with a limited time, and pretty often you don't have a lot of time to think. You just pretty much pull out what you already know from your brain and start to try to apply them to your drawing, your painting. You don't have a lot of time to figure out all the little details and perspective and things like that. Like I still do perspective in this drawing, but it's done in a very quick and loose manner. because with the lighting constantly changes and the things constantly moving and the outdoor scenery, when you're painting live on location, you don't have a lot of time to figure everything out. And you're not going to take a photo and start to paint from photo because that defeats the purpose. So when I'm painting plein air, I feel like it's an exam. It's like a test that how I'm able to pull out what I've learned and apply it to my painting. So the first wash start with the sky. There's some clouds in the sky, but I'm just going to pretty faintly kind of paint them out. So I'll leave some white and I'll soften some of the edges and so on. And as I come down to the horizon, I just start to give it some more warmth on the building and on the horizon. Leaving out the highlight for the car and the figure as usual. But also I started to connect the cars on the right to the buildings. It's very important that I start to do that because when I start to connect the shape in the first wash, I think it kind of gets me into the mindset that the shadow of the car is going to connect to the building itself. So I start the second wash with the top of the church building. Try to slow down and get that silhouette in, but I cannot be so slow that the wash started getting too dry. It's a little bit warmer in the morning, so I spray some water on it just to extend the life of the wash. And as I come down, I leave some white, and I also mix some dryer mixture and do some dark details on it. So as I come down, I make it a little bit darker. So the top of the building is a little bit lighter, and as I come down closer to the horizon, I make it a little bit darker, especially when it's up against the car. You really want that contrast so the car will pop out. Now I'm painting the car. Since I want to connect the shadow shape of the car into the building, I need to do it now so they don't separate it. Get some more dark detail while it's still wet. Doing plein air is actually quite tired for me because I need to make a lot of split-second decisions while I'm outside. The buildings on the left, that one is closer. It's actually connect to where I'm standing at, the curbside, so I need to make it darker. And since I'm waiting for the wash on the right to dry, so I thought it's a good time for me to paint the building on the left while I'm waiting for that to dry. It's really rough. It's basically just one shape with a little bit of different variations on the left. So back to the buildings on the right, I'm painting some shadow shape because there's a shadow casting by the trees next to the building. So we got some nice shadow going on. And now I'm painting the tree next to the building. I'm using a Kolinsky brush. This is a traveling Kolinsky brush, so it's a little bit easier to carry. So I did the basic shape of the tree, and then while it's still wet, I mix a pretty dark green color to mix in it, to do some wet on wet work on it, so it feels like there's volume. So here I realized that I forgot to paint the background building, like the way distant background building. But since the buildings on the left is dry, I can kind of just safely glaze over that. So I continue the buildings on the right and paint the car a little bit more. Give it some side windshield, like the bottom cast shadow, and some shadows on the body of the car. Just to pull that form out of the flat surface. So just some shapes in the background, those were also suggesting cars. And now I move to the left, and I also paint the car that is coming towards us. Everything is very simple. The car is very simple. Like, it's not a car painting. I'm not trying to paint a painting of a car. I'm trying to capture the whole sceneries. So the individual shapes and elements, they are not as important as trying to get the whole picture down. Move on to the figures. What we really need for the figure here is basically just the head and the shoulder. And down to the leg, you can kind of just merge it with the background, because that's all you really need to speak figures. And when I'm painting figure, there's nobody there, so I pretty much just invent one. The purpose of the figure is pretty much just the scale reference to kind of give you an idea what's the scale of the car and the buildings and such. And it also makes the scenery feels more alive because there's people there. So I'm painting the lamppost, some more marks in the backgrounds. Just trying to add a little bit more scene, but as far as the whole painting goes, that is pretty much done. So when you're doing plein air, and really just any sort of painting, so it's important for you to finish the whole painting in your mind. So you have a vision of the painting. And when you have a vision, you have a goal. When you're starting to draw, starting to paint, and do all the washes, you have a direction to go. You have a goal to achieve. You have a vision to accomplish. So this is it for my short plein air trip. It was wonderful paintings and sketchings. So I'm gonna check out pretty soon. I'll leave my luggage here at the hotel so I don't have to haul that around all over the city, because my ferry is not going to leave until like 5 in the afternoon, so I still got quite a bit of time. So after I checked out, I'm just going to explore the city a little bit more, maybe have some coffees and nice food and whatever it is, really have some me time. So which means this is the last video I'm going to do for the trip. So next time you see me, I will be back at home. It's really important that I going to have some me times that is not involving making videos and stuff. I'll probably still do a little bit sketching on my iPad, but thank you for being here with me, and I will see you guys again soon.